Hello, I'm Tom Bailey, and in today's episode, I'll be getting to know Alex Rodriguez, who is the best-selling author of Digital Bacon and Sell Before You Sell. And he helps successful companies to raise their visibility, transform their brands, and attract more business. So, Alex, hello, and a very warm welcome to today's episode.
Thank you. Very honored for this invitation.
I really appreciate it. And just out of interest for me and the listeners, whereabouts are you based right now?
I'm in Tampa Bay, Florida. Our office is in downtown Tampa.
Oh, incredible. Thank you so much. And I just want to share a little bit more about you before we do get started. So Alex specializes in attractive launch campaigns for brands, events, products, and ideas. And over the past 2 decades, he has developed successful online experiences for renowned brands such as Disney World, Disneyland, SeaWorld, and Sony Music Entertainment, along with many more brands. The title for today's episode is How to Generate 100 Leads in the Next 7 Days. And Alex is going to show us how to do that in just 7 minutes. So question number 1 today is, who are your ideal clients?
Yeah, so we work best with small businesses that just want to stop wondering where their next client is going to come from. They want to stop wondering how many new clients they'll get each week. And our standard clients are usually in healthcare, med spa, roofing, landscaping materials, construction, and so on and so forth. But we have clients in many, many different other niches as well.
Awesome. Thanks for that. And what would you say is typically the biggest challenge that your clients face before they start working with you?
Yeah, typically the companies that we get to serve, they are stuck. They are stuck in terms of their marketing. They often spend on marketing actions that are expensive and that yield very low and poor results. And result of this is deep frustration, just staring at a dead sales pipeline. It's often empty and dry, and they're just wondering what they need to do in order to attract more customers.
Yeah, makes complete sense. I'm sure that a lot of the listeners will resonate with that, no doubt. So if you're unable to get that consistency with your marketing, then what typically is the biggest impact that causes for your clients?
Yeah, well, simply at the end of the day, leads are the lifeblood of any business, right? Without leads, there are no sales. Without sales, there's no revenue. Without revenue, there's no profit. And without profit, there really is no reason to do business.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, everything starts with a stream of quality leads coming into their sales pipeline. When a business is able to dial that in and make sure that their sales staff is consistently contacting, calling, emailing a group of potential customers that actually want to do business with them, it's completely transformative to the reason that they do business. At the end of the day, our clients become happy with their business. After all, it revives that passion that they had, their vision for founding the business in the first place.
Of course. And again, just to reiterate, the title for today's episode is How to Generate 100 Leads in the Next 7 Days. So yeah, how would we do that? Can you give us a little bit of advice how to start working through that?
Oh, it's such a short amount of time. There's only so much that I can go into, but I will say that the main reason why small businesses aren't doing this, aren't attracting so many steady leads, is that they haven't identified what I like to call their entry point. So the entry point is essentially that on-ramp toward a potential client becoming a client. What is that first step that potential client needs to take in order to begin working with them? And many small businesses haven't identified that. So when they identify it, and for example, an entry point can be a discovery call, it can be an initial session, it can be an initial evaluation, it can be a free quote, but it should usually be easy, accessible, and preferably free, right?
Yeah.
So when that entry point is identified, the first thing that I recommend doing is promoting that entry point instead of what the company does for business. Because at the end of the day, when potential customers come through the entry point, they'll eventually do business and buy whatever their core product is. But if you don't promote your entry point, you're asking customers to take that large leap into whatever you are selling, whatever service or product you are presenting. So identifying and promoting the entry point is the first way to begin that spark, that flame of new customers coming into the business.
Excellent. And I've just got one extra additional question off the back of that, if that's okay with you. So
Yeah.
when I think of entry points, I'm thinking, you mentioned strategy sessions or calls, for example, but we've also got things like lead magnets, which is just a one-page PDF. So are they both entry points, or would you say it needs to be more tactical or tangible?
Yeah, no, well, for lead magnets, I call that more of a touch point.
Yeah.
So it's just an opportunity for that customer to engage with the brand, to understand what the value is that they bring.
Yeah.
But an entry point should preferably be a contact, something, a two-way piece of communication,
Yeah.
or session, a times reserved, so that they can actually engage with somebody in a live session.
Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to make that distinction because I think that's a really good
Very
point.
valuable, very valid for sure.
And the next question for me then is, what is one free resource or something that you can share with people to help them solve this problem?
Yeah, so one of the methods, of the many methods that we use to generate leads, is by publishing amazing content.
Mm-hmm.
This content should be relevant, it should be impactful, and it should be highly valuable.
Yeah.
But the reason why most small businesses don't generate consistent content, on a frequent basis, is that they run out of ideas. They're just so close to their subject matter that they don't see how to generate those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So that lack of ideas is usually not due to writer's block or anything like that. It's usually due to lacking a process to generate those ideas.
Yeah.
So we've generated a process that we like to call shaking the idea tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our process takes small business owners from A to Z, basically going from whatever they already know to ideas, an endless supply of ideas that they can then produce content through. So I've shared our process. It's free to access at ymmymarketing.com/shaking. That's ymmymarketing.com/shaking. So there you'll find there's no opt-in, there's no reason to drop your email address or anything like that. We won't harass you or anything. You can just go to that site, that link, and see it for yourself, and then follow the process with you and your team and start generating content immediately to attract an amazing amount of leads.
That sounds super valuable. What I'll do is I'll drop that into the show notes as well, so people can click that link and they can dive right in and get that ideas tree. So quick question about yourself then, Alex. Obviously, you've worked in lots of different industries over the years. What would you say is one of your greatest either learnings, mistakes, or failures that you've made either in life or in business? And what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so we founded the business almost 9 years ago. And one of my biggest failures as a business owner was that I started the business without a clear vision in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I thought our core service would be more driven around creative production, which we still do in an awesome way today, I'd like to say, but it wasn't the core product. It was what I liked. It was what I was passionate about, but it wasn't really what the market was clamoring for at that moment, neither right now. So we wasted a lot of time, we wasted years, it affected our revenue. But as soon as we identified that vulnerability and made that pivot, we pivoted more into just marketing services, full marketing services for our clients. That made all the difference. It was night to day for us. And it was a failure, but it was a great learning that not what I'm passionate about isn't necessarily what is marketable, right?
Yeah.
We have to promote what people actually want and are willing to pay for.
Fantastic. Love that. Start with what the client wants, not necessarily what you want as a producer. Okay, great. And the last question from me today is, what is the one question that I should have asked that will also bring some great value to our audience?
Yeah, so I think we never got a chance to speak about our books and the publishing process and how important that is. If you want to be a thought leader in your industry, in your niche, making sure that you publish what is actually your intellectual property. And I believe a lot about, I believe a lot in authenticity, in just promoting exactly who you are. And I believe that each one of us, we have value to give a particular and distinct perspective that is valuable in the industry. A lot of people that are experts on what they do, quite frankly, they're like, well, does the world really need another book on marketing? Does the book really need another book does the world really need another book on speaking, or whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is that nobody can say that perspective as well as you can. When I put my books in the market, my books have been bestseller in 4 different categories, 2 different languages, required reading in universities. And when I was presented with that idea of writing a book, I had the same doubts. I was like, me, who am I to write a book? But I can see how my thought leadership and my perspective has made a difference in the world and is helping businesses achieve their goals, as large or as small as wherever they are in any case. But just consuming those ideas and putting them into practice has made a difference, according to many testimonials that we have been honored to receive.
Absolutely. And what I'll do as well is I'll put links to both of those books in the show notes. People can get hold of those as well. So, Alex, I want to thank you again so much for coming along and for sharing such great value in such short time with our audience.
Yeah, thank you very much. And always here to help, and say hi to your whole audience. And I wish you much success.